You clicked on this video because you want to know if the base model MacBook Air with the M1 chip is a good purchasing decision or a good investment as a beginner musician. The answer is yes, but let's talk about it. First and foremost, let's talk about the price. At launch, this thing was $1,000. Today, you can get them for $650, or if you buy them used, you can get them for around $400 more or less. Now, I understand that this is still gonna be a steep price for most people, but you need to understand what you're actually getting within that price range. There are gonna be two things that you need to be worried about the most when it comes to being a beginner musician, in my opinion. The first thing is gonna be iMovie, second one's gonna be GarageBand. iMovie is how you edit your videos, save them, that way you can upload to whatever platform you're gonna upload to. GarageBand is how you record your instruments, whether if that's your voice, guitar, bass, whatever it may be, that's how you record everything. And then you can also do some minor editing in there as well. The good news about both of these programs is they come pre-installed with every single Mac out there. If they're not, they're free, you just go to the website and you just download it, no big deal. The other good thing about these two programs in particular is that whenever you want to upgrade, whenever you buy the paid version, which is going to be Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro, they are extremely similar when it comes to the layout and the footprint. So whenever you start using GarageBand and iMovie, when you upgrade, it'll start to look very, very familiar. Now, I have been saying beginner a lot. Now, don't worry, when you're not a beginner anymore and you start leveling up, this can still handle those programs like Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro. The plug and play ability. First of all, the plug and play ability on this thing is just flawless. At this point, I've been with Mac for an extremely long time. It's second nature for me. It's basically a standard at this point. Now, what I've heard on the Windows side of things, that may not be the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a workaround. Maybe they fixed it. But I do know for a fact that whenever you take a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, whatever Mac product out of the box, put in your interface, put in whatever software you need to do, it just works, it goes, it does it beautifully. Now this is really important because whenever you put your interface into the computer, you want it to just work, you want it to just go. This interface will also power phantom power if your microphone needs phantom power. You can also do direct input signals when it comes to guitars or bass, whatever it may be. There are no drivers to install, you just plug it in, the computer recognizes it, and it just goes. And then whenever you plug in your GarageBand, it'll automatically detect where that instrument is, what the instrument is, different effects that you may want to do. It's all seamless. It just goes. And you don't need a specific interface to make sure that this works. This is just how Macs are. Now, talking about the base model MacBook Air, you're looking at 256 gigs of storage. That is not that much, but there is a workaround. We can get external solid state drives, terabyte, 2 terabytes, whatever you think you may need, and you can actually plug this guy in, and you can also run apps off of that hard drive as long as it's plugged in. That way it'll free up space on your computer and it'll also increase performance on your computer. I actually used to do this with my MacBook Air, but I really wanted my MacBook Air to be as compact of a traveling computer as best as humanly possible. So I went away with that, but I still carry a solid state external hard drive. The reason why I went away with that is because with the MacBook Air being as thin as it is and as small as it is, you only have 2 USB-C ports. One of those is for charging when needed. So really you only have 1 USB-C port. I like to keep that open for anything that I may need, whether if it's a microphone, an interface, whatever problems I may have. I like to keep that one open. So I did go away with the external hard drive being plugged in, running everything off of that, but I still carry one with me to transfer as needed. And you can also get USB-C hubs. I think they get a little bit bulky depending on how many IOs that you need, but that is an option. I just personally don't do that. I like to keep this thing as small and compact as possible. With the base MacBook Air, you're looking at 8 gigs of memory. A lot of people might kind of be standoffish when it comes to this number because it is pretty low, but one thing I have noticed is that with this new M1 chip, or at the time new M1 chip, everything worked flawlessly. As a matter of fact, this entire video I am doing on my base MacBook Air. I'm running Logic, I'm running Final Cut Pro, I'm doing all the editing, thumbnails, everything that this video is on my MacBook Air. So that M1 chip is more than enough to power whatever you need to power. as a beginner. This one is actually very near and dear to my heart. The reason why the operating system is so important is not because of what you're actually running. It's because the fact that this is still a $650 computer running the latest Mac OS. Now this is important because back in, oh man, I don't even know what year it was. I had a 2011 MacBook Pro. I don't remember the operating system, but I basically maxed it out, okay? What I mean by that is it would no longer upgrade to the next operating system. This wasn't a huge deal. I didn't get all the fun little fancy upgrades that came with those software updates. But after a few years, it was a problem because then what happened was Logic and Final Cut Pro no longer would update because it was not compatible with the operating system that I was running. So I went from a 2011 MacBook Pro to my 2020 MacBook Air M1. Now, why am I telling you this? What's the big deal? The big deal is that MacBook Pro was an absolute workhorse. It was during the Intel days, so I was able to upgrade the RAM, I was able to upgrade the internal storage. I was able to do all that by myself, and it was an absolute workhorse. Extremely loud, but a massive, extremely massive workhorse, okay? Then I was forced to give that up, all because it just wouldn't update anymore, because Apple said 2011s were just too old. Like you just don't get it. That wasn't fair. So I went from the 2011 MacBook Pro to the 2020 MacBook Air M1, and I will say the difference is night and day. Now technology is also different. Maybe that's where the M1 kind of shines. My MacBook Air M1 light years ahead in speed, ability, processing, everything. Light years ahead of my spec'd out MacBook Pro from 2011. Now maybe that's not a super huge flex, but I definitely noticed the difference and it definitely helped me out. Now why this is important for you is because 2020, if you look at it, we are now in 2025, you've got at least another 10 to 15 years of being able to upgrade, or more, maybe more than 10 or 15 years, where you can actually upgrade your Mac operating system to still keep up to date with all the latest software updates and all of the updates for all of your apps. That's an extremely big deal because whenever you buy a computer, you don't want to have to just upgrade in the next 2 years. You want this thing to completely just last as long as possible. So the fact that this is a 5-year-old computer, you still got at least 10 to 15 years of usability out of your Mac 1 or your M1, MacBook Air M1. I think that's a great investment. The size, this thing is absolutely tiny. It is great for travel. You can throw it in a backpack, you can throw it in a bag. Wherever you're going, you can throw this guy in there. Then you can hotspot with your phone. It's got a great screen on there so you can watch all your Hulu, your Netflix, all your Apple movies, whatever you have on there. This thing can go anywhere with you. And as a beginner musician, hopefully you're addicted. This thing, as it sits, will power whatever MIDI keyboards you have, whatever interface you're running, microphones into the interface, all that kind of stuff. So if you have a backpack full of just gear, this does not take up very much room at all. For size comparison, I have my iPad Pro and my MacBook Air. There you go. That's the size comparison. It is not that big at all. If you like this kind of content, let me know by subscribing, liking the video. When you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way, whenever I have more videos like this upload, you'll be notified of it. Next few videos will be actually using the M1 to show you that it's not just bark, there is bite to it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.